All right, welcome back, focused learners, to another explainer. Today, we're diving into a massive, fundamental shift in how we actually build software. We're exploring the ultimate goal of completely escaping the constraints of our local development environments to build this lightning-fast, persistent remote stack designed specifically for AI agents. If you've been feeling the pain of local development lately, well, this blueprint is absolutely fascinating.
Okay, let's dive into this by addressing a very universal pain point. Let's be real, managing AI coding agents locally is kind of becoming a total nightmare. People are dealing with these rogue child processes just absolutely destroying their local environments, draining their laptop batteries to zero, and requiring endless computer reboots just to clear out the tattered ends of background tasks. I mean, the way we've always worked, it just isn't holding up anymore.
So here is our roadmap for today's explainer. First, the remote dev shift. Second, networking with Tailscale and Caddy. Third, persistent connections with Mosh. Fourth, editors and multiplexers. And finally, challenges and unique inputs.
Section 1. The remote dev shift. Moving workloads off your laptop.
So the big idea here is taking your entire development process and just running it on a remote machine, like a Mac Mini tucked away in a closet somewhere, or maybe a home NAS. The benefits are literally game-changing. Your processes actually persist when you close your laptop. Your battery life skyrockets because, you aren't running thousands of background tasks locally. You can access your dev environment from a phone or a tablet from anywhere in the world. Plus, you get built-in HTTPS for secure browser APIs. That is crucial because things like webcam access or local storage APIs just fail without a secure origin. It's wild. The current state of local development has gotten so absurd that Apple actually added a reboot after power fault checkbox in the latest macOS beta. Yeah, they literally had to build in a feature specifically to deal with these detached, unattended workflows for remote machines.
Section 2. Networking. Routing your private development cloud.
We're starting with Tailscale. Technically, it's a virtual private network utilizing the WireGuard protocol. But practically speaking, think of it as an exclusive private club for your devices. Once you install it, it puts all your hardware onto this secure local mesh network. And it features something called Magic DNS, which is just fantastic. It basically means you can connect to your machines using simple, plain text names like Mini or MacBook Pro instead of having to memorize and track a bunch of complex IP addresses.
Now, you might be wondering about alternatives, right? If we contrast Tailscale with another popular option, Cloudflare tunnels, the choice actually becomes super clear for this specific stack. Cloudflare tunnels can be incredibly complex to set up, and by design, they expose your applications to the global internet. That means you suddenly have to worry about building out robust authentication layers. Tailscale's local-only route is just vastly simpler. It keeps everything safely on your local network, and it has a really great UI for device whitelisting.
And get this, here's a pretty fun fact about Tailscale. 6. That is the exact number of free users you get on their free tier. It's incredibly generous. That's enough for an entire family, and honestly, if you don't have enough kids to fill those slots, you could even give your dogs access to your dev network. It's completely free to get this foundational networking layer up and running. Okay, let's bring Caddy into the mix and see how this builds out our network. Caddy is this battle-tested web server and reverse proxy. It pairs perfectly with Tailscale to route requests and assign local HTTPS domains, like ai.robo.online, to your specific ports. And here's an awesome pro tip from the source material. Because Caddy has been around for so long, AI agents are incredibly good at writing Caddy files. This makes it a much more reliable choice for routing than a lot of the newer, frequently abandoned lab projects out there.
Section 3. Persistent connections with Mosh. Surviving the laptop sleep cycle.
Meet Mosh, or Mobile Shell. This is a remote terminal application that acts as a complete drop-in replacement for SSH. You simply need Mosh installed on the specific machines you're remoting into, and it fundamentally changes how your terminal sessions behave when you're on the move. So the crucial point is this. If you are using standard SSH, the very second you close your laptop and it goes to sleep, boom, your connection drops. You have to manually reconnect every single time you open the lid. With Mosh, it auto-reconnects instantly upon your laptop waking up with zero lag time. Mosh is absolutely the key to preserving those long-running AI agent sessions when you need to step away from the desk.
Section 4. Editors and multiplexers. Managing the code and the AI agents.
For the code editing layer, the source highly recommends Zed. Zed is a lightning-fast text editor that has completely streamlined the whole remote connection process. You just enter your connection details natively right in the app, browse your remote folders, and it genuinely feels exactly like you are working locally. and entirely sidesteps the lag and disconnect issues that you usually find in older remote editor setups. Now, to manage your terminals, you need a multiplexer. And Herder takes that old concept and completely rebuilds it for the AI age. It is the ultimate session manager right now. The standout feature is this really unique sidebar that reports the real-time status of your AI coding agents. It lets you know at a glance if an agent is blocked and needs your approval, if it's currently running, or if it's done. It also features marketplace plugins, and it'll auto-copy selected text right to your clipboard, which removes a tremendous amount of friction from the workflow. But, as the source notes, the market for these tools has become a bit of a joke. Everyone is suddenly building terminal multiplexers instead of actual end products. You've got T-Mux, which is the classic. You have Herder. Then you have D-Mux, which uniquely manages AI agents in isolated Git work trees, which is great if you want different AI models to tackle the exact same features simultaneously. And then you have the absurd, crowded market of SMUX, GMUX, WOMUX, and the list just goes on. It's a super crowded space for sure, but finding the right mux is absolutely essential for managing multiple agents.
Section 5. Challenges and unique inputs, reality checks, and workflow evolutions.
Because everything is running remotely now, you're no longer tied to your desk. But that creates some bizarre new interactions. Prompting agents from the gym using mobile apps like Termius has become a necessary evil for some developers. And yes, these apps have neat macro bars above the keyboard, but the mobile experience as a whole is still full of limitations. Let's look at the specific annoyances developers are dealing with. In Termius, for example, there's no touch-to-select support. You literally still have to use clunky keyboard shortcuts to select agents on a modern touchscreen. When shifting a session from mobile back to desktop, Herder suffers from screen tearing and requires a full window resize just to fix it. And out on the web, the capture wars are escalating big time. Services like Cloudflare Turnstile are aggressively blocking headless browsers operated by AI agents by injecting these tiny, hidden debugger statements into non-existent files. It is a constant game of cat and mouse.
And this brilliantly illustrates just how crazy things are getting. Because of these workflow evolutions, developers are hacking together entirely new ways to input data. Get this, an Elgato 3-button foot pedal workflow. Developers are mapping the left pedal to dictate voice prompts, the center pedal for enter, and the right pedal to cycle through active AI agents in Herder. It sounds totally absurd, but it's proving to be an incredibly effective physical hack for remote AI management. It essentially allows developers to orchestrate agents almost like playing an instrument.
Which actually brings us to a fascinating conclusion. The tools are changing, the location of our workloads is changing, and as we just saw, even our physical setups are changing. It leaves us with this really provocative question. If we are truly delegating the heavy lifting of coding to AI agents on remote servers, are standard keyboards no longer the best input method for our workflows? It's a wild thought to end on. It might just be time to rethink your physical desk